Hello, Scott from MMA Fanboy, and welcome to the first video on the YouTube channel. I've been meaning to do it for a long time. I haven't got round to it. I've made excuses. I don't really know why, because I've been wanting to do this for a long time. But you know, family, work, whatever, I've just come up with excuses and not done it. I wanted to do the first video I wanted to do on McGregor Cowboy. That's how long ago I wanted to do it. And I just say I haven't got round to it. But hey, here now. Excellent. And what better time to do it? We've got UFC 262 literally around the corner. And I'm looking forward to it. But okay, before we get into that, I just want to tell you about the channel, what the channel's all about. MMA Fanboy. It's just a little sort of funny thing. So this is all about fans' perspective. I am a fan of the sport. So I've been following UFC, MMA since 2005. So I've been watching it for a long time. I'd like to think that I know a little bit about the sport. I've watched it progress and what's happened over the years. So it's kind of like a fan's perspective channel. I am not a fighter. I haven't fought. I don't train in fighting. I've done a little bit of boxing back in the day, a long time ago, but I don't do any jiu-jitsu. I don't do any wrestling, anything like that. So I am just a purist fan of the sport. And this channel is all about fans. It's all about us as the fans. And I'd love to hear your comments, whether you agree or disagree with me. As many comments as possible. You might not like what I say. You might like what I say. If you do like what I say, let's be friends. If not, I don't really care. It's your opinion, and the more opinions, the better. Let's get opinions in there. That being said, let's get straight into this. So, UFC 262. This is all about the lightweight division, and the lightweight division is one of those divisions that is full of killers. It is a hell of a division. It's stacked. Yes, we've lost Khabib Nurmagomedov, but it's still a stacked division. It's a shame. I think Khabib went too early. I would have loved to have seen him fight someone like Chandler. I would love to have seen him fight GSP, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So let's move on from the Nurmagomedov era. This is a new era, and let's start with UFC 262. And say particular focus on the lightweight division. So co-main event, Beneil Dariush versus Tony Ferguson. Man. I mean, Dariush is one of those guys that seems to be overlooked. I mean, he's only lost 4 fights. He's had 25 fights, lost 4, won no contest, won 20 fights. And he's been around. He seems to have been around for a long time. It's just, I mean, his last fights, he's on this win streak. His last fights have been insane. Some real top finishes. He holds some power in his hands, man. He looks big for 155. When I first saw him, I can't remember who was he fighting. I can't remember. When I saw him, I thought it was 170. He looks quite a thick, big guy for 155. And he holds some power. He does hold some power. Yeah, so he's fighting Tony Ferguson. And Tony Ferguson, well, I mean, Tony Ferguson is Tony Ferguson. Man, Ferguson has had it rough. I mean, he gets beaten by Gaethje. He loses to Oliveira. He's coming off some losses. But am I right in thinking? I think he's changed camps. Has he changed camps? Or something's changed in his camp? I think he's working on some stand-up stuff. I don't know. I heard that. I can't remember where I heard that. But yeah, anyway, Ferguson is one of those guys. I love Tony Ferguson. He's been around the sport for a long time. I saw him win tough. Man, he's just one of those guys. He's really likable. Like he's one of those guys I always want to see do well. And he's been so close. He's had interim title, but he's been so close so many times. And I would have loved to have seen him again. He's one of those other guys you'd have loved to have seen Khabib, but it was never. Man, that fight was just destined never to happen. But who knows? Who knows? We will never know. It could have been a whole different story for Tony Ferguson if he'd beaten, if he'd beaten Khabib Nurmagomedov. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Beneil Dariush, Tony Ferguson, man, that's a tough call. That really is a tough call. I'm going to put my neck on the line here. I'm going to go for Dariush in this one. I just think that Tony Ferguson, he gets hit a lot. He gets hit a lot. And I think Dariush, he holds some power in his hands, Dariush. And I think he could hurt Ferguson. But again, I think if this is going to end, I think it's going to end fairly early, round 1 or 2, in Dariush's favour. If not, I could see Tony Ferguson maybe getting a decision. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I think, I'm going to stick my neck out and go Dariush. But hey, what do you reckon? It'd be good to hear your thoughts on it. And then we move to the main event, Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira. Guys, Michael Chandler, I was super impressed with Michael Chandler on his debut against Dan Hooker. Man, Dan Hooker is a real tough fight. We saw him fight Dustin Poirier. That was such a good fight. But Michael Chandler really impressed me. And I've watched him fight before, and he comes across, and he looks like he's been fighting in the UFC for years, man. It just is nothing fazed him about that night whatsoever. He came out, he pressured Dan Hooker from the start, really made it difficult for Dan to get into his stride, which is obviously a game plan. Dan looked like he found it hard to get anything away in terms of offense, and Michael Chandler just was swarming him, like just gave him no room, no time to breathe. And the thing is with Michael Chandler, he's super dynamic. You watch his movement, he's in, out, bouncing around all the time. Like he's a super dynamic guy. Obviously, Dan Hooker's a lot rangier, taller than Chandler. And Chandler's just is super compact, holds a lot of power in his hands as well. Obviously, we saw that. We've seen that before. But, he's obviously an elite wrestler as well. So he's got that in his back pocket. But, man, I was super impressed by Michael Chandler. And he's fighting Charles Oliveira. Now, Charles Oliveira is one of those guys I think that gets overlooked as well. A bit like Beneil Dariush. I don't think Charles Oliveira gets the credit he deserves. But he is starting to really evolve as a fighter. He's a really well-rounded fighter. On the ground, stand up. He can do pretty much anything. And that makes him super dangerous. Because when we're talking about these guys in the lightweight division, I mean, that lightweight division is so close. When you look at the talent in that lightweight division, the top 7, 8, I mean, we're talking about a division where anybody can beat anybody on a given night. And that can happen when you're talking about like top 15 guys, I suppose. But generally, you're like the top 5 guys, you're like, yeah. But this lightweight division is just insane. It's so stacked. We've got Poirier and McGregor doing their own thing. Fair play. Where like this now fits in. So like after this, I mean, if I'm calling Dariush, if Dariush beats Ferguson, does that put him in the picture for a title fight? Probably not. I reckon that probably puts him somewhere. He'll probably fight the loser of Oliveira Chandler. And then you've got the winner of Poirier and McGregor, who I guess would fight for a title fight next. And then where does Tony Ferguson then sit in that picture? I mean, if Tony Ferguson wins, I mean, there's some matchups in that lightweight division, but I am going to put my neck on the line in that one. And I'm going to say Dariush for the co-main event. And I think Michael Chandler's going to do it for the main event. But what do you reckon? Be really interested to hear your thoughts. Guys, whoever's watched, I really appreciate it. Leave your comments below. I'll try and comment back if I can. But yeah, really glad I got this first video out. Let's see what happens. UFC 262. Roll on.